Is God real? That's something we all ask ourselves, isn't it, really? Thought I'd share my story about how I found God. I'd always been an agnostic throughout most of my life. Neither of the two options seemed to make sense. It always been random happenstance, didn't really make sense. And it being created didn't kind of make sense, because then who created the creator? But either way, most of my life it didn't really matter anyway. I was young, who cares? And then we get to 2013, and I move into my house with my brother. Move into my house with my girlfriend at the time, but my brother announces to me that he regrettably has cancer. And this sends me off the deep end a little bit. I'm preoccupied with death all the time, trying to solve the unsolvable. I mean, good news is that he survives by the end of 2013, but my relationship at the time broke down. So I had to move back in with my mother. Then, after moving back in with my mother, I started dating a woman who I didn't know at the time, but actually lived nearby, but we'd spoken in the past, and had never spoken to her since, but reached out on Facebook and managed to arrange a date. This woman was over 10 years older than me at the time, which might not seem too important, but it will be. And then, shortly after dating her and having unprotected sex, we get pregnant. And the reason I brought up her age is that she was surprised by this, because she thought that she couldn't conceive. Her and her last partner before that had tried and hadn't been able to. Unfortunately, though, she has a miscarriage, and our relationship then becomes on off all the time. From there as well, I had 3 people die towards the end of 2014, being my genetic grandmother, who actually died on Christmas Day. Her husband, who was actually my dad's stepdad, who essentially raised him from being a child. So my granddad, essentially, on my dad's side. And then my genetic dad as well died in the early parts of 2015. Then in 2015, in October, whilst we're on off dating all the time, she confesses the truth that she has had an abortion and it wasn't a miscarriage. And then this cues me to lose it and not have a very good time. I was suicidal for around 3 years, and in that time, I suppose, we ultimately stopped that relationship for good, escaped the cycle, which was good. But I've then had this nagging thing where I was failed. In my mind, from watching lots of nature documentaries, I had been deselected from the gene pool. So that's the way I had interpreted it in a very Darwinistic manner. And eventually I subsided from that, although I've missed out the part, where during that depression, I awoke with the knowledge that I would have a daughter. And it was so crazy. It's never happened before or since, where it was like as though somebody had put the knowledge into my brain. Very peculiar. Something I've not really, like I say, experienced before or after. I start a new relationship with a woman who wants to have children, but I think it's best just to not barrel straight into it. So we delay it for a little while, just enjoying each other's company. She already has children. But then the 2022 global crisis occurred, and it went south. Relationship didn't end, but you could tell it wasn't the same. And then in 2022, after eventually breaking up, I was around at my friend's house and we were playing a computer game, and I was the one playing it. It was a single player game, and they were observing. and they remarked, well, my friend, who is an atheist, said three things in a row, which then seemed to me to be like a message from God. He said, "Oh, what's happened to you? I thought this was your time. Just relax." And it was weird. It was like being hit by a lightning bolt when he said those phrases. I mean, gradually, first one I was a bit like, that's a bit relevant. Second one, that's really relevant to my life. And then third one, ultimately was the message I considered from God. Unfortunately, though, I didn't heed this relax advice, because that relationship did end. Sorry, so I've kind of got the story out of sync. I was sent that message, but I didn't pay attention. I then, with that relationship, initiated a break, and it just never recovered from that break. So I didn't relax. Then at this point now, I do believe in God. Then in July 2022, we had the heatwave hottest temperature here in the UK, and I was out relaxing with my friends, and then the sun was shining on me, and I noticed that the clouds around the sun had formed the letter C. And as I'm thinking this, my friend just says to me randomly, the same friend who's atheist as well, says, "Oh, look, God's shining on you. Look, he's shining on you. What's he telling you? What's he telling you?" He's obviously joking around, but I'm like, "Oh my God." And all I could think of was, yeah, he told me to relax, and that's not what I did. And from there as well, I've had multiple other sort of, I believe, messages from God. And, you know, it's sort of a little bit like if you've seen the film Dune, where Paul Atreides has visions of the future, but they're not exactly 100% correct visions, but they gradually seem to be guiding him in the right direction. I sort of feel like that a little bit with the messages from God. Although they're not like 100%, and I can't 100% determine them all the time, that they are ultimately sort of still guiding me. This YouTube channel creation was one of the things that I felt God guided me to do. And in that time as well, last year, I guided somebody to God accidentally. I didn't mean to. It wasn't the intention. But now he believes in God, which I consider a bit of a win. And I'll probably just leave this video here then. That's my story anyway. That's how I came to believe in God. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.